This afternoon, the Minister of Finance, Minister Malusi Gigaba, delivered his maiden and possibly only budget speech on the South African economy. It was always going to be a tough budget, and we understood that. The medium-term budget, which was delivered last year, indicated that South Africa had a growth rate of only 0.7% and an anticipated deficit of 50.8 billion rand. What was encouraging was the revised estimates, which showed a growth rate of 1% and a reduction in that deficit to 48.2 billion rand. The question, though, remains how to fund that deficit. What the budget presented was a basis of funding the deficit of 36 billion rand, and the difference being funded out of a saving in public spending and some further borrowing. The budget also included an allowance to deal with the higher education for first-year qualifying students, and those are students who have a household income of less than 350,000 rand per annum, and those students will be supported in the higher education budget. Where does most of our tax come from, though? Individuals contribute already 37.1%, VAT is 25.3%, and companies 17.9%. This constitutes 80% of our budget. The rates for individuals and for companies are already high, specifically in relation to our trading partners around the world. And so there was very little opportunity to increase those rates. And a bold decision was taken to increase the rate of VAT from 14% to 15%, a 1% increase, whilst retaining the exemptions as far as basic foods are concerned. This 1% increase translates into 22.9 billion rand of additional tax to be collected out of the total required of 36 billion. In addition, the other taxes to be increased are 52 cents per litre increase on the fuel levy. Some duties on luxury goods are going to increase by 7 to 9%. There will be an adjustment to estate duty for estates in excess of 30 million rand, will attract a estate duty at the rate of 25% and not the standard rate of 20%. In conjunction with that, the donations tax rate for donations in excess of 30 million rand also increases to 25%. Alcohol and tobacco always increases, and this time it's up between 6 and 10%, and that is going to comprise the majority of our tax increases. Whilst there is no change in the marginal tax rates as far as individuals are concerned, there is only a slight adjustment to cater for inflation, and only in the case of the lower 3 bands of tax in terms of the marginal rates, where an adjustment has been made which will only cater for 3.2% of the increase as far as bracket creep is concerned. There's no bracket creep adjustment for the higher 4 bands of tax as far as our individuals are concerned. Equally, rebates are only increasing by 3.2%, again way below inflation. So what else does our budget contain? There's obviously increase in social grants. The old age pensions increase from 1,600 rand in 2 tranches to 1,700, and the child allowances increase from 380 rand per month to 400 rand per month. These are increases of something of the order of 6.6%, which our minister is very pleased to announce is above the rate of inflation. The higher education over a period of time will account for a further 58 billion rands worth of expenditure, and this is going to have to be funded largely out of future budgets. There was also some emphasis as far as the environment is concerned. There will be increased levies on plastic bags. The carbon tax, which was proposed earlier, will be increased with effect from the 1st of January 2019, and there will be some drought relief subsidies in the order of 6.6 billion rand. The increase in the tax base has been assisted by the special voluntary disclosure program, which netted about 2,000 applications during the course of last year. There are also going to be other changes as far as tax is concerned. The interest rate charged by SARS on overdue payments is going to be adjusted to equate far closer to the prime overdraft rate charged by leading banks. And there will be a review of the doubtful debts allowance, which is allowed to companies who are writing off or making provisions for doubtful debts. There are no changes as far as the company rate of tax is concerned. The CGT inclusion rates, the dividends withholdings tax rates remains the same, and transfer duty remains unchanged. So overall, this was a tough but predictable budget. It was positive in that it seeks to address the commitment that was given by President Cyril Ramaphosa in addressing excessive government expenditure and addressing the issue of corruption. It also predicts a growth rate of 1.5% for the 2018-2019 fiscal year, which in itself doesn't deal with a growth rate sufficient to address our unemployment. But at least it is a better prospect as far as an economic future is concerned. Thank you.